Hello, friends. I am on this unpacking standards kick the last couple of days, and it could be because I've spent time recently with districts helping them unpack their standards with their teachers. I've literally unpacked standards for months of my life with hundreds of teachers, and the work is hard. It's really hard. So I'm not going to tell you that it's easy work, but what I am going to tell you is that it's some of the most valuable work you can do. And so what I want to do today is share with you the impact of unpacking standards. And so, oops, I'm a little foggy there. I want to make sure I'm not foggy. Some of the things that I want to highlight are the evidence-based practices that you would notice in John Hattie's visible learning. And so what I think is important for you to understand why unpacking standards is really key is that teacher clarity has an effect size of 0.75. That is because as educators, we get explicit language. As we see all of the parts of the standard, we develop an understanding of it and we're able to clearly model, and we can create examples for students so that they're able to understand what we're asking them to do and create examples of progressions of what that work looks like. And that's something that we don't spend a lot of time doing in education and really reflecting. And that's something we need to really fight to take back because when we think about planning, we want to be intentional in the type of planning we're doing, and we want our planning to impact students and student achievement. And so unpacking standards is one of the ways that we can do that. Feedback is another evidence-based practice of 0.73. And so when we unpack those standards, we get that explicit language, we can clearly model, and we have examples, we can use all of that in small groups, giving feedback. When we're in conferences, it can be written, it can be oral. All of those things are types of feedback that we can give students. And when we're able to do this and we're able to create examples for students or checklists of what they need to do to demonstrate their understanding of a standard, they can start self-reporting and self-assessing on themselves, which we see as a 1.44 effect size. And so when we do this work of unpacking standards, we can help students have clear examples with exemplars. We can have clear examples with mentor texts. We can have clear examples with checklists that help guide them. And we can use all of this together to help make sure that we're focused on those evidence-based practices. I want to take just a moment to share with you a document that I recently created with a team in Webster City, Iowa. And so this is our unpacking standards document that you're seeing here. And I just want you to see how you can progress through unpacking a standard. So what you'll notice is that we unpacked standard SL74. And you're going to see like the verbs and the nouns, which is what a lot of people think about when they think of unpacking standards. We think about the context. We think about the level of thinking. But that's not where it ends. We start thinking about these are all implied learning targets. Like these are all the things that kids need to do and learn in order to be able to do the standard. That's a lot. And then when we start to unpack that and we start to study that, we can start thinking about what do students need to know, the declarative knowledge, what do they need to understand, and what do they need to be able to do in order to perform at that standard. And so as we start to get to this level, we can create a progression of learning. So you can see they present claims and findings in a focused and coherent manner that are supported by facts. And then in this one, we're supported by facts, details, and examples. And then this one, we're doing pertinent facts, details, and examples. And the presentation impacts the thinking of the audience. Now, some of these things were explicitly stated in the standard, and some of them weren't, because it doesn't talk about impacting the thinking of the audience, but it is implied. There is a reason we get up and present claims and findings, right? So you have to think through those things with your team, with your PLC, and make sure that you add those important details to the information as you're unpacking the standard. After that, this particular school was doing I can statements on their report card. And so from that, they were into with their students. So they were able to, after we did all that, develop an I can statement for their students. What we have not been able to get to yet, but will through PLC visits, is think about like what it means to teach this standard or these different targets, these different parts of the progression in the classroom. So we think about the materials that we have in our curriculum. We think about the strategies. We think about our setting. What do we already have and what do we need to truly teach the standard? Then we'll talk about, is it measurable? What parts are measurable? What does the assessment look like? Do we need to change verbs because they're obscure? So think of like understand. What does understand mean in this particular setting? And then after that, we can do some reflection and think about any implicit targets that are not stated. And so we'll add that to this. But these documents become the focus of our PLC meetings. What do we want our students to know, understand, be able to do? And we study student work and we study student data and we create tools that are going to support students in their independence. So if you've heard, like I've worked with schools and with PLCs that have started out with high levels or high numbers, high percentages of students that qualify for tier 2 interventions. And so through clarifying these evidence-based practices and unpacking the standards, we're able to decrease that significantly. It takes time and it takes a focus, but it's very, very possible to be able to do this work. So what I want to encourage you to do is keep going. Don't quit. If you need help, give me a call. I love to do it. I nerd out on it. And I hope you have a great day. Thank you.